All right, welcome to 3 ways to help students with missing assignments. Let's get started. So let me know, drop it in the chat box. Where are you logging in from? Where are you? I'm going to drop it in there so you know where I'm coming from. I'm coming from Petaluma, California. It's just north of San Francisco. Where are you logging in from? All right, so while people take their time and pull that up, I see we've got Matt from Pasadena, Lincoln, California, Far Hills, New Jersey. Awesome. So we've got people logging in from all over the country. Very cool. So let me give you a little background. So we're going to be going for about 30 minutes here. And first question here. Have you heard your students say something like, I don't know where to find my homework? When you feel like you've told them 30 times exactly where to find their homework, uh, it's not too difficult at this point. It's been, more than a year, uh, almost, you're in the second semester. Have you heard this before? What about this from your student? I'm pretty sure my teacher doesn't need me to turn this in. When you know for a fact, because you saw it on your parent portal, that your student is supposed to turn this in. Or how about, don't worry, I'll just talk to my teacher in class about making that up. You don't need to worry about it, mom, dad. Are these things that you have heard from your student before? So how does that make you feel? Do you feel frustrated, confused, upset, bewildered? Well, to give you a little background, I want to share about my story. I started providing organization skills coaching in 2020 to see if I could set up a more flexible work arrangement for myself. And I asked people for feedback and reviews. And one of the things I started to notice about the feedback I was getting was parents kept talking about this thing, executive functioning. Now, I had heard it, here and there as a special education teacher, but not in the amount that I started to hear it from private, from parents that I was working with privately. And this parent shared, finally, once he was focused on his executive function skills, he got better grades and his video gaming decreased tremendously. So for me, I was like, okay, I must be doing something right because I wasn't telling this kid to stop playing video games, but that was the side effect of him feeling like he could manage school more effectively. And we got a question in the chat box. Laura asked, will this be recorded? Yes, this will be recorded. You'll also be able to find it. You can view it on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, any of those for executive function specialists. So just send me a message if you can't find it for some reason. Now, the other thing, and I can see my face is blocking this a little bit. So let me see if I can adjust this just a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to zoom out here. So the other thing that I learned was that executive function skills are actually incredibly important. So for example, as I started to learn about them, I found from this guy, Seth Perler, from Dr. Adele Diamond, that executive function skills are more important for school readiness than IQ or entry-level reading or math. And that was something that was found across peer-reviewed studies. So my whole life I'd been told, okay, you just got to get better at math or get better at reading, and then you're going to, be the best student. But really, it's actually the opposite. You focus on your organization and self-regulation skills, and you'll be better at all the different subjects. And more so, executive function skills predict both math and reading competence throughout the school years. And that's also found across multiple peer-reviewed studies. Now, this was pretty incredible to me to learn this. So I wanted to share that with you because this was why I realized, you know what? I have got to focus more on executive function skills. This is the holy grail. These are the key to their future. So what did I do? Well, I decided that I was going to resign from my teaching position in the public school system. I taught both in Buffalo, New York, and in Marin County, California for 5 years, in a counseling-rich classroom and as a resource teacher. I said, I've got to focus on just helping people develop better executive function skills because that's what the research is telling me. This is what parents are telling me. I'm gonna learn this. So what I did was I started a business called Executive Function Specialists with a mission to guide middle, high school, and college students in overcoming procrastination, disorganization, and anxiety by teaching time management, prioritization, and communication skills so they felt empowered, motivated, and prepared. Now, before we dive into the 3 ways to help students with missing assignments, I do want to share this here. If you take a picture from this presentation, you can just take your phone out and snap a slide that you really like or something that's informative to you. Share it on social media, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you hang out, and tag me at Executive Function, which I will put in the chat box right now so you can see it. I'm going to star it and pin it. You can tag me on that, and I'll have a special prize for someone who tags me on social media for this. I'll leave that up for a few seconds so you can remember it. So let's start with our friend Edward, though. I'm gonna go back to this. This was a student I worked with, Edward, and I want to tell you about him because I'm going to talk to you about how we helped him overcome missing assignments. So Edward's parents had tried everything, right? They tried tutoring, medication, therapy. They'd even tried baking cookies for his teachers, trying to help him get back on track and reduce those missing assignments. But for some reason, he still had Fs. He still had a lot of missing assignments. He still had teachers saying to him, hey, this was due 2 weeks ago. What are you waiting for? You need to turn these things in. Now, this is pretty stressful for Edward, but also his parents. So in my first meeting with Edward, I began like this. Edward, it's great to see you. Is there anything pressing on your mind you would like to discuss before we work on school items? He said, well, no, but thank you for asking. He was surprised. See, Edward was expecting me to say, Edward, oh my God, you have so many missing assignments. Why can't you turn these things in? Don't you care? Are you just lazy? What's wrong with you? And what happens when kids hear even a negative tone of voice, they're very sensitive. They're very in tune with what people are communicating, even if they don't say it in words, is that their mind closes off. And there's a lot of research around this. One guy, Stephen Crash, and he called it their affective filter is up, right? They have a filter. They're not letting anything you're trying to teach in because they don't want to hear it, because they just need to know that they're cared for, that there's a secure attachment. So when you change your tone of voice, when you start with, hey, what's on your mind? Let's check in before we dive into all this crazy schoolwork. That opens their mind. It actually lowers that affective filter. And the research around this is amazing, right? So there's this guy, Stephen Krashen, and he was looking at students who had recently immigrated to the United States that didn't speak English. And they were the hardest group to teach reading to, right? How do you teach reading both to a student who doesn't speak English, but also doesn't know how to read? And what he found was that the affective filter was lowered when students were empowered, when they were asked, what do you want to read? What are you interested in? Not when they were just told what to do. So using that strategy with your students, with your kids, lowering their affective filter first is an extremely powerful technique. So I said, oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm happy to check in with you. So for you to feel like this session was a great use of your time, what would be different in life? What would be different in your life by the end of this meeting? Notice again, I'm asking him. I'm not telling him what to do. I'm getting his buy-in. And he said, well, my history teacher told me I could raise my grade to a B if I just finished this essay, but I can't figure out how to start it. And me, I'm thinking, okay, great. I have a degree in English literature. This is easy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, okay, sure, let's check it out. And I said, good to know. What if we make an outline? Now, 30 minutes later, we had the outline. We had written out I'd helped him write out most of the essay. He wrote it, but I just giving him prompts and, suggestions. And he had it all done, right? It wasn't a perfect essay, but it was a complete draft. And I said, so Edward, what if you upload this to Google Classroom and leave a note to your teacher that says, would I be able to earn partial credit for what I've completed and turn the rest in soon? So, right, he's asking his teacher that. Now, let's take it a step back. By prioritizing connection, Edward was more productive. Many people think, okay, we've just got to focus on getting more and more done, and then the student's going to be productive. But it's actually starting with the connection, right? Because that secure connection between the coach or the therapist or the teacher and the student is what allows them to feel motivated and bought into the process. Okay. Has anyone tried this with a student and got better results? So there you go. Strategy number 1 for reducing missing assignments is prioritize that secure connection. Show them they matter. And it's not just about their schoolwork, that your affection and care for them is not conditional upon how many assignments they get done, but that they're just important because they're a person. So a couple little strategies for you to remember is clear the deck. Ask them, hey, is there anything on your mind before we work on this productive activity? Don't nag or show frustration. Remember, kids are sensitively attuned to the emotional fluctuations of their parents or adults and caregivers. They know exactly what you're feeling. They pick up on it, and you got to be a master at showing them that you're not upset, you're not angry, that you just want to support them. So invite connection with your tone, expression, and words. But now that Edward was feeling secure, right, we had established that secure connection. It was time to take the next step. So how do we do that? So, well, I said, Edward, can you show me what your current grades are? And Edward said, okay, well, this was a couple years ago, but he had D's in English, D in chemistry, C- in history, D+ in geometry, and a C- in Spanish here too, but an A in advisory. So I said to Edward, I said, what grades do you want to see on your report card at the end of the semester? Right? Because of course, as parents and teachers were like, you should get straight A's, right? Or B's and A's, right? But what does he want and what is he willing to work for? Well, he said, yeah, I'd love to have A's and B's if possible. And then I asked him, Edward, how would you feel if you opened that report card or you pulled up Parent View or whatever the portal is you're using and you see A, B, A, B? How would that feel? And he said, oh, that would feel incredible. And then I said, will you write that down on tasks, what you want? And it's actually pretty cool. You can check it out on any Google. If you're in Gmail, if you're on Google Docs, Google Excel, there's this little sidebar. You'll have to go to the bottom of the screen and there's a little caret, but you can pull this up and there's a little sidebar and that has Google Tasks on it. So that it's actually available to pretty much all students. And I'll actually show it to you real quick. I'm going to share my screen so you know about it. Let me see here if I can share my screen. I'll just share this window. So check this out. So I'm going to pull up Google Calendar here. So it's actually on the side. I'm going to close it out. This little caret down here, if you click on that, you pop it out, you can see there's a little tasks thing. And so I'm going to give you an example. Here we go, Edward. So I had him write it down here. So you can just add a task, type in, earn an A in blank, right? So this is a very easy thing to do, but it's also on email, right? If you go back over to your email, I can close this out. You're looking at your email. You can click on tasks here and you can go to that. So this is really nice because the majority of students in the United States use Google applications. So they all have access to these great tools. But what makes it even cooler, let me show you this real quick, is that when Edward and I started working together and he had assignments, he could actually just take this and drag it into his calendar. And now this would pop up in his notifications like, hey, you said you were going to do homework number 2 at 11:30 a.m. And when he did it, he could just click on it and mark it as completed. So this was very kind of engaging to know that these tools that were sitting right in front of him, he could use those. So I'm going to go back to my presentation here. Let me make sure I'm going to add this to the stream there. Okay. And hide that. So I had Edward write all those things down. Now, has anyone here, have you used Google Tasks with students you're working with or even for yourself? Is this something anyone was aware of or already using? And as you can see here, Edward put in the A in geometry, B in chemistry, A in US history, A in Spanish. So he was motivated, right? He was like, all right, this is what I want. I'll write it down. But the cool thing is, Dr. Gail Matthews of Dominican University, she led a study on goal setting with nearly 270 participants. And what she found was, check this out. Participants who wrote down their goals were 42% more likely to achieve them just by writing them down. So that's pretty amazing. And I always tell students, it's like, hey, biggest step you can take is, besides showing up here, is just write down what you want. And that's the hardest thing for kids, is that they don't really understand how to write down goals. But the cool thing about writing down your grade for a goal is it's a SMART goal, right? It's specific, it's measurable, it's actionable, it's realistic, and it's time oriented. It has to happen by the end of the semester. So that's an easy way to set a SMART goal with a student. So strategy number 2 for kids who are missing assignments, Have them write down a SMART goal. If they're missing 10 assignments, have them write down a goal to get to 5 missing assignments, right? Get very specific so they know what they're working towards and it just doesn't feel like an overwhelming flood of things they need to do. So here's a couple tips for you here. Write them down. See, I put that in capitals because that's the number one thing to start with. You can use tasks or any other cloud-based system so they can't lose them. Because look, I love my paper planner like anybody else, but kids with ADHD often lose things, right? That's just one of the challenges that they experience. I've lost a lot of planners and sweaters and all types of things in my life. So you having it on a place that they can't lose, that doesn't get deleted, it's much more helpful at times. And then make sure the goal is measurable, right? We're not setting a goal do better. That's not a goal. We're setting a goal to go from a C to a B, or to have, no more than 5 missing assignments by the end of the week. So I said, okay, Edward, now that you know what grades you want to earn, can you show me what assignments are missing and what will be due soon? And he said, okay, sure, Sean. So on Canva, I have this agenda, and he showed me, okay, I've got all these upcoming and missing assignments. And they said, and then I got to go to Google Classroom, and I got to check on there because there's, those are the assignments from my other classes. Oh, and then there's this other teacher who doesn't use Google Classroom. They just use this kind of website that they created on Wix. So I've got to check their site. And I said, wow, Edward, that's a lot to track. You must be exhausted just from doing that. Now, does anyone have a student here who has to check multiple portals in order to figure out what they're supposed to do that day? So what I said to Edward is I said, hey, let's make a list with each assignment and its point values and tasks. Are you up for that? Right now, notice what I said to Edward is, are you up for that? That's what I call a trial yes. And it's where you get the student to buy in rather than forcing them to do something. Are you up for this small, inconsequential step that is very consequential? But for them, it just feels like, all right, yeah, I'll give that a shot. Then I said to him, you want to make sure you get credit for anything you work on, right? You don't want to work on all these assignments and then your teacher says, oh, it's too late. Sorry, that was due a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That's the worst. So I said, let's confirm with your teacher that you can still earn credit. Does that work for you? Yes. Now, the more times you get a kid to say yes to small things, the more likely they are to say yes to something big like, hey, can we stay in this weekend and focus on working on these missing assignments, right? But you got to get those small buy-ins. He said, oh, Sean, I don't want to bother my teachers. They've got so many other students. I don't want to do it. And I said, well, would it work out if we wrote out the email and then you can decide after you write it if you want to send it? And he said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I said, let's ping your teacher. Now, ping is a little acronym I came up with to help students with disabilities learn how to communicate with their teachers, because a lot of kids will write a subject line maybe and one sentence of text, and teachers are like, that wasn't enough information, or I just don't like the way you wrote that, and they won't be as responsive. So we got to help teachers do their job. And here's one way you can do that. So PING stands for P, start for that pleasant introduction. So hi, teacher, I hope you're doing well. I stands for inform and inquire. Teacher, I noticed my grade in your class is currently A, C, D, F. My goal is to earn A, B, A. My plan is to complete the following assignments in this order. 1, 2, 3. You put the assignments that you think you should do first, right? Then you inquire curiosity. Is there anything else you suggest I do to work towards my goal of earning A, B, A in your class? Right? So you're using all your executive function skills here. You're making decisions, you're negotiating, you're setting goals, and then you negotiate, right? So the ping, the end in ping is negotiate. Will I be able to earn full credit if I complete these and submit them to you by choose the date? So we have the student choose the date, right? Again, they're choosing their grade, they're choosing the date. They're making sure they're bought into the process 100%. And then, of course, you got to end with that gratitude, because you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, right? So thank you so much for your guidance. Oh, wise teacher, put your name. And that's just going to make it more likely for the teacher to be responsive, right? Now, Edward got to the end of this email. He's like, Sean, that was exhausting. Am I really going to have to do that for every class? And I said, absolutely not. And here's how. And I want to show people actually how you can use something really cool called templates. And if you stay till the end of the presentation, I'm going to share with you a whole host of templates that you can use with students. But let me show you how this works. So I'm going to pull up my calendar here, or sorry, so this is Gmail, right? So one of the really cool things is in Gmail you can set up templates. So you got to go into your settings and go to see all settings here, and then go over to advanced. This is advanced, and go to templates. I've already turned it on, but I just wanted to show you this is how you get there. Then you go back to the inbox, and let me show you what you do. So you click compose, and then you can actually click on these three dots down here and go to templates. Now I've created a bunch of them. So anytime you create one, you can save it. But let's go to this one as an example. So that template is already there. So he can just change the name of the teacher, change the name of the assignments. And remember, all the assignments are here. He listed all those out. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's do past history test. So he can just copy that, paste it there, and fill out his template. Now the other cool thing is that, let's say you want to adjust the template, right? You want to say, maybe you want to add in a third assignment, for example, an assignment 3, right? What you can do then is you can click on these three dots. You can click templates, and then you can save draft as a template, and you can overwrite, or you can save it as a new template. So this is a nice thing, even for you people out there who are, running a business or sending the same email over and over. This is a great way to kind of save yourself some time by creating templates. Anyone out there already using templates? Now, if you stay till the end, I'm going to share with you all the templates I've created to work with students. That goes from asking for accommodations, taking tests in a separate setting, asking for additional support, getting step-by-step instructions, even ones for students who want to find jobs, doing informational interviews. I'm going to share with you a worksheet where you can download all of those for free. Now, the cool thing is, within 5 minutes of sending the proposed plan, the teacher did respond. This is what happened. She said, "Edward, I love, love, love to see you taking ownership of your work. Yes, you can absolutely turn those items in to get credit. And if you need help with any of it, come to my office hours next Thursday at 3 p.m. And my experience has been, when students reach out into the universe and ask for help, they get help, right? It's kind of, the problem is when the parents are doing everything for them, when they're bulldozing or helicoptering. Oftentimes teachers become defensive and avoidant of talking to those parents or working with them. But teachers love to see students reaching out for help. Yes, of course, there's those bad apples out there that are not helpful, but 99% of teachers want to help students who are willing to reach out for help. So strategy number 3, I've given you the first 2 strategies. The third one is make everyone around you aware of those goals. Share your goals, and people will help you reach them. So a couple strategies to use there are email the teacher the plan and get feedback. Make sure they're bought in as well. Put up those things on the bathroom mirror, or put them around your house on a whiteboard. And then you got to review those goals every time you sit down with your student, or if you're meeting with a student. You got to stay. You can't just be switching up the goal posts. You got to focus on those goals continuously and provide them the support they need. So you might be wondering, okay, well, what happened to Edward? So I want to walk you through what ended up happening to Edward here. So, every meeting Edward and I would meet, I'd help him complete assignments, submit them, update teachers, and ask for that feedback. And really my goal was to work with him, but to pass the baton of support to the family, right? Like, I'm trying to work myself out of a job so they can help him, And so to increase that engagement with families, and this is a bonus strategy here, is you have what I call family team meetings. So I want to walk you through how you can do this with your family or students. And what is a family team meeting? Basically, it's just the idea of getting everybody on the same page. So why would you hold one? Well, you want to increase what's known as collective efficacy. Now, that's a big word, and I want to tell you what it is. Collective efficacy is a team, whether it's parents, school, attorneys, advocates, a team's shared belief that through collective action, that can positively influence student outcomes, right? It's a belief, including those who are disengaged or disadvantaged. Now, if you know about Hattie, I want to show you something real quick. Hattie is an amazing researcher. This guy, John Hattie, I think he's from Australia. And he did a study where he analyzed over 176,000 studies on education, I believe. And it looked at over 300 million students worldwide. And he found that collective teacher efficacy, so a group believing they could help a student with something, was had one of the largest effect sizes. So to give you a little context, 0.4 effect size, that would be equivalent to 1 year of instruction, right? So this is telling you this approach can have up to advancing 4 years of instruction on a student, right? It can help them catapult 4 years ahead. So to me, that's pretty amazing. You're probably wondering what teacher estimates of achievement are. Like, what's the first one? Well, that means a teacher understanding what assignments to assign to their student, right? What tasks to give them so that they can help them move forward. So basically, it's just the knowledge that a teacher has in terms of how they assign things to students. So this is pretty amazing, right? When you get the team involved, you can have much better results. Now, I want to show you one more thing from this study that people aren't always aware of. And this is Hattie's 256 influences that impact student achievement. But if you go all the way to the bottom, right, all the way, let's keep going here. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff. Kind of interesting. There's some things that actually negatively impact student experiences. And at the very bottom, ADHD is the most negatively impactful thing on student outcomes. So this is why I tell people executive function skills are the key, right? Because what is ADHD except executive dysfunction? So I just want to share that with people so they understand why it's so important to help students with these skills. So anyways, what is the agenda of the family team meeting? Well, you ask the parents and the student what's going well, what needs to change, and who does what by when. Very simple, right? So I'm going to give you an example of how we did this. So with Edward, I said, hey, it sounds like we're all on the same page that Edward is going to have his final history project turned in before our meeting next month. Mom, you committed to buying Edward a handheld recorder so he can interview grandparents about the project. Does that work for you still? Notice getting that little buy-in from the parents. Now, Dad, you said you're going to act as a body double. You're going to sit with Edward after dinner for 1 hour each weeknight to be a support as needed. Does that still work for you? Yes. All right. Edward, you said you're going to put your phone in your parents' room until you have texted a picture of what you have completed to Mom, Dad, and myself each school night. What time should we expect that by? Okay, we got on the same page. Now I said, is everybody on board with this plan? Everybody said yes. There you go. You're getting those small buy-ins from each person. Now, after a few months of engaging in this process of coaching him, getting the families to attend these family team meetings, I started to get messages like this from Edward. I've never been more consistent with my assignments than this week. I'm usually doing it last minute. Having someone that I tell I'm going to finish it by this time has helped a lot. All right, awesome. Keep it up then. And then I would check in. Hey, have you finished the bibliography? Oh, I've never finished a project so early. So Edward's grades started to improve, but more importantly, he started to feel a lot more confident about school. His self-esteem started to rise. And then I got this message from his dad. Edward seems to have a new level of motivation. And I said, what did you notice? He's staying up late, working hard. He went to study group late this afternoon and dinner with his buddies, presumably ones from the group. It's so good to see this. And so I wanted to share that with you because if you use these strategies, prioritize a secure connection, establish SMART goals, and make everyone aware of those goals, and finally, get the family on the same page, you're going to see incredible results. Now, I know I told you I promised that I was going to share with you this this worksheet or all those templates. So let me pull that up real quick and drop that in the chat box. I'm going to put that in the chat box so everybody can have that. And I'll also send it as a follow-up email to this group. So there you go. You can copy that. I'm also going to share it on the screen here. This is the link. So if you go there, I'll show you what you get. So you're going to have the communication templates for helping students with EF challenges self-advocate. There's a checklist to help students increase executive function skills, and an error log. And all these also have an associated YouTube video that will walk you through how to use those. And there's an infographic explaining what executive function skills are if you need to share those with someone. So I want to thank everybody for showing up today, making time to learn about this, and hopefully this helps some students out there. If you have any questions, want to follow up with me, you can find me on social media at ExecutiveFunkSean. You can visit me on efspecialist.com, or you can send me an email at sean@efspecialist.com. I'd be happy to chat with you about your particular situation. So I'm going to stop there right now. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer any questions if if any do come up, hopefully I can see them. So I'll take a couple more minutes here. I see some people are logging out, which is great. The presentation is over, but make sure you check out those free resources. I've got them up on the page here. And then if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box. These are coming from different platforms that we're streaming on, so it may take a second here for me to see it. All right. Well, if there are not any more questions, feel free to connect with me on one of those different social media platforms. Oh, here we go. Noelia said, any books about executive function in the classroom? Okay. Yes. So a couple books that come to mind. Definitely Smart But Scattered by Peg Dawson. Well, that I think applies to more than just the classroom. I do think she's got a lot of great information about that. I also have a blog article called 17 Things to Do with Your Students in the Classroom. So what I'll do is I will drop that into the chat box. Let's see here if I can pull that up here and drop that in. That is a good one. Let's see here. 17 ways to teach executive function skills in school. So let me share my screen real quick. So this will be helpful. 17 ways to teach executive functioning skills in school. I wrote down a bunch of good strategies for you. So I'll share this. Let's see here. Refresh this page. So that would be helpful. And then as far as books go, yeah, definitely Smart But Scattered is helpful. There's also a book by Dr. Daniel Franklin called Helping Students with, I believe it's Helping Students with Language-Based Learning Disabilities, which I've found very helpful for when I was teaching in the classroom. So those two would be a good starting place. And then drop a comment in this article below, and I will also add some more resources to that. So let's see here. For some reason, this one, but I'll drop the title. This is in the blog. So let me just drop that title in here so you can search for it on there, because for some reason the URL is not popping up. Okay. So let's see here. What other questions come up? Can you send the video of this session to share with others? Yes. So after this session, there will be a recording, which I will send out to everyone so you can check it out. So glad that people got value from this. Would you mind sending the YouTube video links that you talked about? Yes. So actually, what I can share with you right now is, let me drop it in there. But if you open up let me pull it up so it can be easily found here. Let's see. Give me a second here. Templates. Let's see here. Okay. So let me share this with everybody. So this is when you go to that link to download the templates for communicating with teachers and adults. If you go down, if you click on this, I'm going to drop the link in here and share with everybody now. But this has the video. So this video will walk you through how to use templates in Gmail. And then if you go to my YouTube channel as well, let me see here. I'll pull that up so people can find it. Drop a link into that. I have a bunch of videos on, let me see here. So this is at the bottom of efspecialist.com website, but my YouTube channel is here and I've got a bunch of stuff. So actually this is also helpful. This video will be right here. It's live right now, and then it's going to be saved on here. And then there's a bunch of different videos that could help you with motivating your students, navigating Gmail, using folders. So definitely check those out. In case there's videos on executive functioning, Gmail, all that stuff. Let's see here. Any other questions before we end the presentation? All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Definitely join our parent group on Facebook because it's a great place to hang out and share your questions. All the coaches, most of the coaches from Executive Function Specialists are there. And if you drop in a question, they'll definitely get back to you. And I'll be sharing some more presentations. So if you download the communications template, if you subscribe, you'll see upcoming presentations. Next week, I'm going to have a special presentation that's going to be live streamed on the groups as well as here on how to support students that are entering college. And I'll be having a college specialist, Elizabeth Hamblett, who's been featured on Attitude and Chat and all types of places. She just published a #1 bestseller on supporting students with the transition to college. I'll be interviewing her live next week. Please bring your questions because it'll be a great opportunity to learn from her. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for coming, Victoria. Thanks for coming, Noelia, and see you all soon.